Oh, hey, how are ya? It's nice to see ya. Okay, all right. Welcome to Faux Pods with Lola. That's me. I'm Lola, and this is Faux Pods, the format where I just pretend that other people are listening. I talk to myself, like a podcast, but ain't nobody listening but you. So, thanks for listening. So, first off, my schedule was all whack this week because children. My lighting is all weird, so if it's weird, I apologize. Second, I wanted to say rest in peace to a really amazing kind of counterculture comedian that I don't think enough people knew his work. I don't think enough people really appreciated a kind of satirist that he was. I think everyone thought it was just bathroom humor, but it was actually a lot deeper than that. In my opinion, it was very Monty Python, very Kids in the Hall, but for the younger generation. That person is Trevor Moore from the Whitest Kids U Know. He passed away this week. He was a couple years older than me. I'm not exactly sure what happened. They haven't really said anything besides just please respect their privacy at this time, his wife and their kid. That show got me through tough times. It was on IFC. There was about 4 seasons of the Whitest Kids U Know. And he was a founding member. I got into it right around the time that I had my first kiddo, and it's kind of like the end of an era for me because I have very fond memories of watching that show, feeling like I didn't know what I was doing in my life. Everything that I wanted just was unattainable, and like all these horrible negative things. And then I'd watch that show and laugh and feel inspired that I could reach goals. So thank you, Trevor, and all the other Whitest Kids you know, I know. All the other Whitest Kids. Rest peacefully, and thank you for leaving a legacy. They actually have a YouTube channel that you can go check out their stuff. It's 100% satire. Early 2000s stuff is questionable and dodgy. In today's more woke PC place, it's harder to be universal with social commentary or stereotypes or whatever, but I don't think any of them ever meant it as anything but societal introspection. Anywho, so my girls were sick earlier in the week. They had like a summer cold. If there's any change in your schedule, in your normal schedule, it just kind of just makes everything shoot out the side if you're a parent. If you don't have kids, you have that to look forward to. I'm with my kids 24/7. We homeschool. I don't have a huge, group of friends. I don't have a full-time babysitter. It's a lot of patience. It's a lot of understanding, and it's a lot of working through your own issues. So I have about 5 things if you're considering having kids, or maybe you just started out, you're a new mom, or if you just decide to do things your own way. I have some tips for you if you want them. They're kind of just, life hacks in general as far as relationships. Hopefully they'll resonate. One of my all-time favorite movies, Corrina Corrina. It stars Whoopi Goldberg and Ray Liotta, and it takes place in the 50s. It's a tremendous movie. I don't hear anyone giving Corrina Corrina shout-outs, but they fucking should. There's a scene where, I believe it's Jennifer Lewis, this character is the sister to Whoopi Goldberg's character, and they're talking about, opportunities they had when they were younger, and Whoopi Goldberg didn't have kids, her sister did, and so she jokingly says to her, should have kept that nickel between your knees. I think about that phrase all the time. That means, you probably should have not ventured out sexually before you were ready to commit to a family. I think about it all the time because I wonder what my life would have been like had I not chosen children. And back when I started, I realized that maybe I was in over my head. So I think about, should have kept that nickel between your knees all the time. Having said that, they're meant to happen for you in your lifetime, no matter what you choose to do, because I believe your body is your choice. It's nobody else's beeswax. If you decide to embark on motherhood for whatever your reasons are, it's for a reason. If you decide not to, that's for a reason. Whatever happens with that opportunity, it happens when it's supposed to happen. I believe that there's a lot of divine timing in absolutely everything, but certainly with something as big as that. So when you take that step, this is the first one. They are literally little sponges that soak up absolutely everything that's around them. If you expose them to music, they will respond to the music. If you read to them, they will respond to the words. If you talk to them, just in like a conversation, not I never spoke to my kids that way. I mean, no judgment. I have no judgment for any mom, no matter what she chooses to do. I really don't, because it's tough. It's a thankless job. It's 24/7, 365. So whatever your choices are, more power to you. I just hope that they serve you well. And your kiddo. Whatever you expose your child to, they will soak it up. They will just... I don't think people realize that. I don't think they realize that as they're yelling at, traffic, their kid is hearing that and going, oh, that's how you deal with frustration, or oh, that, and it's not a mental process. They just literally soak up everything that you do and everything that you are, and then just spit it back out at you. All those cliches about motherhood, like, oh, she's so sassy, just like her mom. Like, yeah. If you're sassy to her, she's going to be sassy back. They're the original learning technology. If you think about it in that respect, I would just hope that you think it through enough and try to do your best every day for them so that they can absorb positive things. We all have our days. We all have our moments, for sure. There's no real wrong way. So just remember that how you relate to them is how they are going to relate to other people. But number 2, it is a lifetime commitment. It is both the best job in the world and the worst job in the world, pressed up against each other, kind of mingling together. Sometimes it's the good one, sometimes it's all day long, every day. That sounds scary. You have to learn how to take care of another human being. You have to learn how to take care of yourself first so that you don't burn out and are horrible. But how do you do that when you have to wake up all night and feed them? How do you do that when if you're breastfeeding, you are exhaustion personified? Not only does your body is producing milk, so you're tired from that, you're tired from the feedings too. You have to keep up on, constant nutrition. You are so tired all the time. So tired all the time, especially when they're little. As they get older, you grow with them. You have to take care of yourself first is the point of that. Find a way to do something that really enriches your soul. Hobbies, whatever, but sometimes you're too exhausted for that. And sometimes in the summertime, you just like to go sit on your porch and have a drink and watch a YouTube series that you enjoy, or vegetate for a minute because you're emotionally drained, you're physically drained, and you're mentally drained. I found a way to motivate myself throughout the day with my mom time. Can sound kind of sad that I have to keep myself in the game by being like, I get to hang out by myself, but it's a good thing. And that's something I really do look forward to is my me time, my alone time. So instead of it being like, man, I wish I could do what I want to do right now, I have found a way to just kind of flip the switch and be like, okay, this is cool. I'm excited to have this portion of the day because then I get to have that portion of the day. That's helpful if that tip helps. Number 3, you will be to them how your parents were to you. And you won't even realize it. That's that cliche of like, oh, I'm turning into my mother. Like, you literally are your mother to your kids or whomever raised you, in all the positive ways, in all the negative ways. Like I said before, there's no wrong way to parent. If you know that there are some issues that you had, some problems growing up, some things that could have been better for you, it is a perfect time for you to write those things within yourself. And I know it's like, okay, so lady, you're telling me I have to find me time, I have to stay calm, I have to, all this laundry list of things. It's a stages thing. Once you get the handle on taking care of them, making sure they're fed and bathed and all that stuff, it's never going to be point A to point B in a nice tidy little line. It's never going to be like that. It's always going to be messy. So just kind of embrace that. The second I started embracing it and just slowing things down and going at my pace, going at their pace, then things were more manageable. Who cares if you have to call someone and say, hey, we're going to be 10 minutes late? That stuff is A-okay, especially when they're little. They're watching all the time. They're observing you. And if they don't feel like they can make a mistake from a little age, it'll just compound as they get older. However you are to them, and if you notice things that you don't like, there's a practice called shadow work, is tremendously beneficial. And basically shadow work is just recognizing something that you really don't like within yourself, and then following it, tracing it back to where it is stuck in your brain, and then just plucking it out and letting it go and replacing something better within it. The example I always use that is probably the most comprehensive is I used to have an allergy to milk. I traced it back to I used to have to sit at the table and finish everything, finish my milk, finish my, and we had dogs when I was growing up. So sometimes there'd be dog hair in my milk. Sometimes it would be room temperature and kind of, gross by the time, but I had to finish it on very many occasions. We didn't have a lot of money. We didn't have a lot of food. I had a serious aversion to milk. It would hurt my stomach. It would give me stomach problems. I never ever thought of milk as a beverage that I wanted to have ever. And then I did some shadow work because I was like, you know what? I like milk. I like a good bowl of cereal. Like I want to move past that. What is it? And it was just kind of like a test of my shadow work. So I traced it back to that, plucked that out and was like, you know what? I'm not that little kid anymore. It's okay. Just kind of give myself a pep talk. And now milk is fine. Milk doesn't bother me at all. It can sound like a bunch of new age bullshit, but you should try it. It's pretty cool. One of the number one things that you can do to better your relationship with your kid is to apologize when you know that you could have handled something better, when you lose your temper, have a meltdown, whatever it is, you can apologize to your children. I don't know where we got in society that I think it's just that deep ingrained, like, you belong to your parents and your property, kind of like from way back in the day when kids pretty much were, women and children were the man's property. But we're not living in those times anymore. And if we're going to evolve as a species, we need to do better for our kids. In that way, I have learned to apologize. Like, I am in no way a perfect person. Nobody is. And I think perfection is a very, very silly goal to have anyway. Your complexities and your faults as a person, that's where the money is. That's where the good things are, in my opinion. That's what makes us who we are. For your kid to see that side of you and for you to be like, I could have handled that better. I apologize. We'll keep working on it together. They will respond in kind and they will respect you. If you respect them, they will respect you back. If you are true to them, they will be true to you. If there was crossed wires in your childhood that prevent you from doing that, then shadow work is a good way to uncross and to move forward the way that you want to with your family. So number 4, shame is the magic killer. All the humans in the world know how shitty it feels to be shamed. If you make a mistake, broke something, whatever, and someone lays into you about how horrible that is that you did that, and oh my God, that's an irreplaceable vase, and how could you brr, 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 brr. Not only does it make you not want to feel badly for what happened deep down, you will end up resenting that person for adding salt to your paper cut, basically, for intensifying an experience emotionally that really everybody makes mistakes. If you just allow them to be imperfect, they'll allow you to be imperfect too. It kind of coincides with the number 3. I read a really amazing book. It's called Existential Kink. It's by Carolyn MURPHY PHD. It's next level shit. I wouldn't just jump into it if you aren't ready for that. But she gives you ways that you can unshame yourself and embrace the entirety of your being. Kind of like shadow work on steroids a little bit, because not only are you acknowledging something, you're enjoying it. You're celebrating it. You're celebrating your weirdness, your awkwardness, your not coolness. All the stuff that you were shamed for, you acknowledge, and then you just bring it back and say, it's all right, girl, you're cool. That was the first time that I ever really thought about how often I had been shamed when I was younger. And like I said, you don't know. You have no idea when you're there in the moment what's happening. Sometimes you are so busy, you have this to do, you, especially as a single parent, especially as someone who doesn't have a support system, like you can lose your shit, but if you do that and then you end up shaming, your kid, it's insult to injury, in my opinion. I can't admonish one and then not have an alternative. If something breaks, it was one of your favorite things, just try to slow down instead of being angry about it. Just slow it down for a minute. Let yourself grieve for that thing for a minute. Tell them to hold on a second, grieve for the thing, or some semblance of that. Like, give yourself a minute to acknowledge that you loved that thing and now it's gone. You could even do that with your kid. Just say, hey, that bums me out because that was one of my favorite things. But that's okay. It's just a thing. So next time, we'll just be a little more careful so we don't break each other's favorite things. And then both of you can clean it up together, and then you can say bye to it together. They see the importance of being responsible and taking care of things. And they also see that it's okay. It's okay to be sad if something breaks. And they also see that you're on their side. You have their back. I highly recommend that. If they don't take anything else away, they'll know that you can treat something with respect. And number 5, last but not least, children are little adults. So if you think of it that way, think about all the times or all the instances where you could relate to them as an adult would relate to another adult. And I don't mean exposing them to inappropriate things that are above where they are mentally and emotionally. If you bump into someone, you say, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Why not lend that same respect to your kiddo? If you fail to do something that they were counting on you for, you would apologize to an adult for that. You would say, I don't know what happened there. And I don't mean being apologetic or losing your authority as a parent. Just showing them that you respect them as you would an adult makes them want to act accordingly, instead of it being like, oh, you're this thing that really doesn't matter until you get older and you will have no real choice in the matter and you have no, I think that we can all think back and remember times when in our childhood we felt completely alone, we felt scared, we felt like no one understood us. We felt like no one gave a shit. That's sad. That's a sad feeling. If you can prevent that within your kiddo, it's a touchy subject, parenthood, because no matter what your stance is, there's always someone that's going to tell you you fucked up. They're going to have an opinion. You're not going to ask for it at all. You're going to be in the line at the grocery store and they're just going to start spewing to you all the things that they think you're doing wrong as a parent. And I don't know why they do that, but it's okay. You just say, thank you for your opinion and move on. These are just examples. These are just little jumping off places for you to kind of play with and experiment. And of course, baby age is really the easiest age you would think, presumably. It's the easiest age relationship-wise because they're just this little ball of fluff and they're just fucking adorable. And even though they shit all over you, you're just like, doesn't matter. Look at their little blinky eyes and their little squishy face, It's a cumulative. It's cumulative from the time they're babies. And I know a lot of people don't believe that. But like I said, I've been with my children from the day they were born. I had them all in what's known as a free birth. It was just me in attendance. I had them and then went to the hospital and got checked out. We were all good to go, which I know some people think is nuts. That was the only way I could do it, so that it was an okay process for me and it didn't scare me, didn't complicate things. That's a whole other story, but my point is I had to do what I had to do for me as the mom to be able to handle my shit as a mom. I think that's where a lot of people run into resistance is you go drop them off at their grandparents, your parents' house, and then they come back with all kinds of like, what does that mean when when grandma says this, or why does grandma do this? Or why does grandpa say that? And so you feel like breaking the tradition of your family in any emotional way is wrong, or it's going to cause backlash with your parents. I would just submit that you as the adult now, you started your own family. You're the head of the household. Whether you have a co-parent, whether you have a husband or wife, whether you have, it doesn't matter. You are now either part of the head of the household or you're just the head of the household yourself if there's no one else involved. That means it's up to you to set the tone. It's up to you to take control. I don't mean control in a way that like snuffs out the ability for them to have exposure to other ideas, other cultures, no, in no way. But if you know the core values of your family and you see them being fucked with for no reason other than someone's just clueless as to what that is, as to what your core values are, you can very tactfully, very kindly step in and say, you know what, we don't do that. We say this. So if you don't mind, try it that way. And, a lot of times most people are like, oh yeah, sure. Like that's fine. Or they won't. But either way, your child will see you do that. They will see that you stood up for your family's integrity. And then they will see the person either honor that boundary or completely walk all over it. And kids are not stupid. They will understand. They will understand what you did, and they will understand what that other person did. That's the beauty of children, is that they don't need you to spell everything out for them. They just need for you to talk to them in a way that they know you understand when they do talk. And it's a fucking mess. Like I said, I've mentioned before, I have a co-parent. He takes the girls, it's basically like this fun little sleepover he gets to have at the end of the week. The rest of the week, they're with me. We do homeschool together when it's school time. School year hasn't started yet, but so it's very much, I have to know that I can get through my day on my own. And if I have to set boundaries in order for me to do that and be the best mom I can be for my children, I don't see any reason in the world why I wouldn't. I've tried the other way. I've tried, kind of more of the traditional ways. I've several different modes, and I don't arrive at one thing and stop. You grow with your children. You have to have a new skill set with every age that they are. And that's the truth. That's the beauty of it, though. You can incorporate whatever you want to. If you don't do a lot of arts and crafts and you think that would be fun, just pop on in with some popsicle sticks and some glitter. There's absolutely no limitation to what you do as a parent. There's no limitation for them as kiddos either. And if you think of them as these little bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, excited little human beings instead of this thing hanging around your neck that sucks the life out of you and gives you wrinkles and stretch marks and fucks up your program all the time. Yeah, they are that too. But being that you chose to be a mom, you can take it a step further. You don't have to just give them mac and cheese and tell them to shut the fuck up. You can kind of step out and shake off all that negative shit just like a dog. Acquire good things, new things, things that are specific to you that you want for your children. Take it one step at a time. I hope that these help. Just wanted to relay this for whatever it's worth to anybody, new moms and dads, anyone considering being a parent, anyone kind of in the middle of it that's like, what the fuck, and feeling stuck, or, just for a different perspective from maybe what you normally hear. So I hope that these help. I hope that it's a good thing. And let me know in the comments, what are some of the traditions that you started with your family, or what are things that you would like to start when you start your family? Let me know. I'd love to hear. Please comment and like and subscribe and hit the notificationer. And have a wonderful rest of the week. I will see you super soon. Y'all have fun till I see you again. Okay. Thanks.